Srivasadiga. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we're going to continue to read from Srimad Bhagavatam in Canto 4, chapter 9, and we are on text 5. Savai tadeva pratipaditam giram
Tadeva pratipaditam giram
devim parigyata paratma nirnayaha
devit paryata paratma nirnaya
tam bhakti bhavo bhyagrinat ashatvaram
tam bhakti bhavo bhyagrnad as satparam
parishrutorush shavasam druvashitihi.
parishru toru shavasham druvashitihi.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. At that time, Dhruv Maharaj became perfectly aware of the Vedic conclusion and understood the absolute truth and its relationship with all living entities. So Prishnigarbha has appeared in front of Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj was in Samadhi, his mind was fixed on the form of Prishnigarbha within the heart. Suddenly he could not see the form anymore, so he opened his eyes and he saw the Lord as Prishnigarbha in front of him. And because he's a young boy, but he wanted to offer prayers, but he was unable to do so, the Lord placed his conch shell on his head. And at that time, Dhruv Maharaj completely understood the absolute truth. He understood what the Vedas are trying to say. Krishna says, Vedescha sarver aham eva vedya. So he understood all that. And his relationship with all living entities, he understood that everyone is a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. In accordance with the line of devotional service to the Supreme Lord, whose fame is widespread, Dhruva, who in the future would receive a planet which would never be annihilated, even during the time of dissolution, offered his deliberate and conclusive prayers. So Dhruv Maharaj, he started out, he wanted to have a kingdom greater than his great-grandfather, Brahma. And so he had this desire and he approached the Supreme Lord for this desire, fulfillment of the desire. He did not approach any demigod. He approached the Supreme Lord. And we are seeing that by approaching the Supreme Lord, not only is material desires being fulfilled, but he's also getting self-realized. He's understanding the absolute truth. And that's the reason we are encouraged that we may have all material desires, we may have no material desire, or we may desire liberation. Just approach the Supreme Lord, worship the Supreme Lord Krishna, engage in devotional service to Krishna. There are many important items to be considered in this verse. First of all, the relationship between the absolute truth and the relative material and spiritual energies is here understood by a student who has complete knowledge of the Vedic literature. So absolute truth is Krishna. The absolute truth has a form, is Krishna. And all the living entities are his energy. The material world, material energy is his energy. The spiritual energy is his energy. And this is what the Vedas are trying to teach us. That is the perfection of Vedic knowledge. Dhruv Maharaj never went to any school or academic teacher to learn the Vedic conclusion. But because of his devotional service to the Lord, as soon as the Lord appeared and touched his forehead with the conch shell, automatically the entire Vedic conclusion was revealed to him. So just by engaging in devotional service, he could understand the Vedas. There's so many people who study the Vedas, but then if we approach the Vedas just in a scholarly manner, without devotion, we won't be able to understand. Krishna says, I can be understood only by devotional service. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. He says that in the 18th chapter, by devotional service. So if we also engage in hearing and chanting, remembering the Lord, we will also be able to understand the Vedas. One who is engaged in hearing and chanting about the Lord is understood to have studied all the Vedas. That's what Devahuti says also to Lord Kapila. One who is hearing and chanting the Lord's names and glories is understood to have performed all the rituals or studied all the Vedas, everything. So here we can see Dhruv Maharaj never went to study the Vedas, but because he is engaged in devotional service, he has gotten the perfect realization of the Vedas. That is the process of understanding Vedic literature. One cannot understand it simply by academic learning. The Vedas indicate that only to one who has unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord, as well as in the spiritual master, is the Vedic conclusion revealed. This is one, I'm trying to remember the verse, can't remember it. It says that one who has equal faith in Guru and in Krishna. What happens? One is able to completely understand the Vedic literature. The conclusion of the Vedic literature is revealed to him without him taking a separate endeavor to study the Vedas, just by implicit faith in Guru and Krishna. The entire Vedic literature is revealed to him, the conclusion of the Vedic literature.
Was it something like Pile Bhakti Lata Beach, Guru Shastra?
No, this one is can't this one is no, this is not that Bhakti Lata Beach. This is I'll look it up and somehow I can't remember it now. I'll look it up and I'll let you know. Okay, you wanna see it now? One who has implicit faith in Guru. Where is that? Oh, but Prabhupada is not worth. He's not quoting the Sanskrit. I think it's in the Mundaka. I'll try to research. I'll try to look for it. Then I'll tell you tomorrow. So anyway, then the reading on the example of Dhruv Maharaj is that he engaged himself in devotional service to the Lord according to the order of his spiritual master, Narad Muni. And as a result of his rendering such devotional service with great determination and austerity, the personality of Godhead personally manifested himself before him. So Dhruv had implicit faith in his spiritual master, Narad Muni. He followed what Narad Muni told him. He did not doubt. So he had this faith, and because of this faith, he followed, he practiced devotional service. And as a result, Krishna revealed himself. So we can see how this is true. The Upanishads are saying that one who has implicit faith, it means need to have equal faith. It's equal faith in Guru and Krishna. To them, the conclusion of the Vedas is revealed. Means one can understand the complete Vedas just by this. As a result of his rendering such devotional service with great determination and austerity, the personality of God had personally manifested before him. Dhruva was only a child. He wanted to offer nice prayers to the Lord, but because he lacked sufficient knowledge, he hesitated. But by the mercy of the Lord, as soon as the Lord's conch shell touched his forehead, he became completely aware of the Vedic conclusion. That conclusion is based on proper understanding of the difference between Jeev and Paramatma, the individual soul and the super soul. So Dhruva is understanding the uh, nature of the absolute truth. He's understanding about the position of the energies of the absolute truth. He's understanding that the living entity, the Jivatma, is different than the Paramatma. We are thinking that, oh, once I get liberation, I'm going to become God. I'm going to become the supreme Brahman. No, in fact, the proper liberation here, Dhruv Maharaj, this is liberation what he's getting. So then at that point, he's understanding, oh, I'm not God. There's a difference between me and God. He's still existing. It's not that because he's liberated, he does not exist anymore, that his consciousness is dissolved and his consciousness is merged into God. No, in fact, he's getting a proper understanding. The individual soul is forever a servant of the super soul, and therefore his relationship with the super soul is to offer service. That is called Bhakti Yoga or Bhakti Bhava. So this is what Dhruv Maharaj realizes. This is the conclusion of the Vedas, and he's realized it now, not only in theory, but he's like, oh, I'm a servant of the Supreme Lord, and I have my relationship with him is to serve him. Dhruv Maharaj offered his prayers to the Lord, not in the way of the impersonalist philosophers, but as a devotee. Therefore, it is clearly said here, Bhakti Bhava. The only prayers worth offering are those offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose reputation is spread far and wide. So we want to we should glorify Krishna. We can, when we hear the prayers of the great acharyas, then we see how they are actually glorifying Krishna because they understand Krishna's position. So they're able to glorify Krishna. Dhruv Maharaj wanted to have the kingdom of his father, but his father refused even to allow him to get on his lap. In order to fulfill his desire, the Lord had already created a planet known as the pole star, Dhruvalok, which was never to be annihilated, even at the time of dissolution of the universe. You can see Dhruva, a 5-year-old boy, till today we are hearing about him, how much fame he has gotten. He's gotten the pole star planet. People study it. The scientists are trying to study it. How much opulence he has gotten. Dhruv Maharaj attained this perfection not by acting hastily, but by patiently executing the order of his spiritual master. And therefore, he became so successful that he saw the Lord face to face. So some of the qualities of Dhruv Maharaj that are being pointed out, patience, determination, implicit faith in the words of his spiritual master. You see, even if when we have any material goal, we need to be determined to be able to come through to execute that goal, to do certain activities so that we can achieve that goal. And then we need to be patient. In time, it will happen. Similarly, in spiritual life also, we need patience, we need determination, we need enthusiasm. Srila Rupa Goswami in his Upadesh Amrita, Nectar of Instructions, he says, Dhairyat, Nischayat, and Utsahan. These are needed to execute devotional service. Now it will happen. Have faith. We are engaging in devotional service. One day we will get the success. Patience. With determination, we continue to hear and chant. And patience. Whenever the Lord is pleased, He will bestow His mercy. Now he was further enabled by the causeless mercy of the Lord to offer fitting prayers to the Lord. To glorify or offer prayers unto the Supreme, one needs the Lord's mercy. One cannot write or to glorify the Lord unless one is endowed with His causeless mercy. Because we are limited. How can we glorify the unlimited? Krishna, He is unlimited. When He reveals Himself to us, when He tells us about Himself, then we can know about Him. And that's how the acharyas, they properly know how to glorify the Lord because they have the mercy from the Lord. And so we are always encouraged to sing the prayers of the acharyas. Dhruva Vachan,
Dhruva Uvacha
Yuvanta Pravishya Mama Vachamimam Prasuptam
Yo Anta Pravishya Mama Vacham Imam Prasuptam
Sanjivayati Akhila Shakti Dhara Swadhamna
Svanjivayati Akhil Shakti Dhara Sudhamana
Anyamscha Hasta Charana Shravana Tvagadim
Anyamscha Hasta Charan Shravan Tovak Adin
Pranan Nama Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam.
Pranam Nama Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam.
Dhruv Maharaj said, My dear Lord, you are all powerful. After entering within me, you have enlivened all my sleeping senses, my hands, legs, ears, touch sensation, life force, and especially my power of speech. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Dhruv Maharaj could understand very easily the difference between his condition before and after attaining spiritual realization and seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. So now Dhruv Maharaj has become self-realized. He's become a Jivan Mukta. He's gotten liberation and he's seeing the Supreme Lord face to face. He's not become God. He's not become God. He's seeing God face to face. He could understand that his life force and activities had been sleeping. Unless one comes to the spiritual platform, his bodily limbs, mind, and other facilities within the body are understood to be sleeping. So we may say, oh, what do you mean bodily limbs, mind, facilities? Yeah, we are using our limbs, we are using our senses to do walk, see, eat, speak. How can you say it's sleeping? Our spiritual senses are sleeping. You know, those are our real senses. So, because right now we are completely on the material platform, so our spiritual senses are sleeping. Unless one is spiritually situated, all his activities are taken as a dead man's activities or ghostly activities. Why is that? We are working so hard, we are endeavoring so much, so much stress, so much pressure, and we are and Bhagavatam is saying that it's a dead man's activity or ghostly activities. Why? Why? Because then we are doing everything is for the body. All the consciousness is everything related to the body, and the body is actually dead. The body is not living, appears to be living because we, the soul, are present in the body. That's the reason the body appears to be living. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has composed a song in which he addresses himself, O living entity, get up, Jiva Jago, Jiva Jago. Gaura Chandra bole, Kota Nidra Jao Maya, Pishachira Kole. O living entity, get up. How long shall you sleep on the lap of Maya? He says, Jiva Jago. Get up, get up. Gaura Chandra bole, Lord Chaitanya is saying. Kota nidra jao maya pishachira kole. How long are you going to keep on sleeping? Now you have the opportunity of possessing a human form of body. Now try to get up and realize yourself. So the acharyas, they're kind. They're telling us to wake up. You're sleeping. You're in a dream. And what is the sleep? What is the dream? That we think we are the body. We have forgotten our true self. We've we have forgotten, we are not able to understand that I'm inside the body. I'm not the body. The Vedas also declare, get up, get up. You have the opportunity, the boon of the human form of life. Now realize yourself. These are the Vedic injunctions. So this is the reason that the human body is so important, because only in the human body can we engage in self-realization, devotional service. You can try to understand, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. Dhruv Maharaj actually experienced that upon enlightenment of his senses on the spiritual platform, he could understand the essence of Vedic instruction, that the Supreme Godhead is the Supreme Person. He is not impersonal. So this is what Dhruv Maharaj is getting the realization. Oh, the absolute truth. He's a person. The Supreme God, he's a person. He's not nothing, or he's not just some light. Oh, he's a person. He's able to understand. And this is the conclusion, the essence of all the Vedas, the essence of the Vedic instruction. Dhruv Maharaj could immediately understand this fact. He was aware that for a very long time he was practically sleeping, and he felt the impetus to glorify the Lord according to the Vedic conclusion. So Dhruv Maharaj is, you know how we feel rejuvenated after we have rested. So, we were sleeping and then we feel, oh, now I'm awake and I can do so many things. So Dhruv Maharaj is feeling that, oh, I was sleeping, my senses were just sleeping, and now my senses are awake. Whenever the spiritual senses are awake, then they will engage in the service of the Lord. Why? Because that's the natural position. It is intrinsic, it is natural, it's not artificial, it's not imposed. That's the function the spiritual senses are for, engaging in the service of Krishna. A mundane person cannot offer any prayer or glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he has no realization of the Vedic conclusion. We may try to sing prayers which are popular, but because they are not composed by devotees, those prayers may not be proper prayers to recite. Why? Because because the person who has composed this prayer, he has not understood God's position. He's not understood the Vedas. It is just maybe something which has become very famous, or something has become popular, or because everyone is doing it, but it may not be a proper prayer. It's only the devotees who are able to properly glorify or pray to the Lord. We can see um, Bhagavatam is full of such prayers, beautiful prayers. Like we heard Kunti Maharani's prayers. Now Dhruv Maharaj is going to offer prayers. Devahuti offers her prayers. Then Arjuna offers prayers. Bhagavatam is full of prayers of the devotees. And if we really want to glorify the Lord, we can learn these prayers. And in that mood, learn how to properly glorify the Lord. Shall we stop here and complete this tomorrow? Did anyone want to say
Yes.
anything? Comment?
I was just thinking that was there this confusion even then, because this is just the beginning, that God is, light and not a person. Were there
What do you mean
Mayavadi
beginning?
people? That's what I'm trying to say, because this is like,
Always.
he's
Always, there have always been these two schools of thought.
Really?
There's always been the two schools of thought. Yes.
Because he's the grandson of Brahmaji, right?
Yeah. So this school, there's always been the two schools of thought. So it's always been there.
Oh,
Until now, it's there. The confusion.
Yeah.
Still, people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now is more and more.
Now it's getting more. Yeah.
More
True.
and more. Yeah. Yeah.
when G himself saw and still like there is, then like we are in Kali Yuga, so no doubt there has to be and there will be. But even then, like it's really shocking or that.
Before it
Wow.
was not so much. Before mostly everyone was like devotees. But like we can see also, no, that the four Kumaras, they were Brahmavadis. Mhm.
Right.
The four Kumaras, they were thinking that the Brahman, they knew they are not God, but the idea of God was that is Brahman. So that's Brahmavadi. So it's always been there.
Okay.
So then it was through the tulsi, right? Fragrance.
Yeah. Feet
Yeah.
up
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
in the beginning.
that's right. That's right. Okay. Thank you so much for listening and joining in Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila
Thank you.
Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.